Hello and welcome to our CAD tutorial channel. Today we're going to work on a planetary gear. It's a pretty neat little project for us to do. I've made the part files for you. I'll talk about them in a second. This is our finished product here. And we're going to create an assembly and constrain it properly and then bring it on over to Dynamic Sim and make it function and work like we're seeing here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. If you have some ideas for some upcoming CAD tutorial videos and any of the CAD softwares that are out there, please leave it in the comments and we'll be happy to create that for you and get it posted for you. All right, so let's get this one started. I've created a brand new assembly file over here, and I've put in the part files that we need. I'll put in the comment file a place that you can download these parts so that you can give this a try yourself. If you'd like to make these parts yourself, they're fairly easy. We use the design accelerator to do that in Inventor, and they're just regular spur gears. This right here, these two are the same gear with different attachments to it. So we have a plate with 4 holes in it, and then we have a long cylinder handle on the second one. Then we have a spur gear inner tooth, and then we added a few holes out on the edge of it. We have a regular spur gear here with a hole in the center. And then this is the only part that we had to create from scratch, which is going to be the planet holder. So here's our sun, here is our planet, and then here is our ring to get this accomplished. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to build 3 layers in this system, and we're going to take each layer and bring it over to Dynamic Sim and get it tested and working before we move on to the next layer. I'm going to need a couple of origin planes from the assembly to get us started. And I need the YZ and the XY, and then I need the Z axis. I'll just make those visible. We're going to start with the ring. And with our ring, we're going to constrain the ring to the XY plane. Okay, and then we're going to attach the center axis of the ring to the Z axis. And then finally, we're going to take the axis of one of the 3 holes and attach it to the other work plane in the assembly. So at this point, our ring is fully locked in place, has no degrees of freedom available to it. Okay, I don't need the planes anymore, so I'm going to turn the visibility of those off. I'll leave the axis in place. My next one is going to be the handle. We'll take the central axis and attach it to the Z, and then I'm going to take the face and flush it with the ring there. So at this point, our handle should have 1 degree of freedom available, which is rotation. Okay, next piece is going to be the planet holder. The planet holder, I'm going to constrain the central axis to the handle axis. And then I'm going to constrain the end of the rod to our sun handle, and we'll make that flush. So now our planet holder should have 1 degree of freedom as well. At this point, I'm going to ground the planet holder temporarily. I'm going to take our planets and use the Control C and add a couple additional planets in here. And now we'll go ahead and constrain our planets in place. We're going to do axis of the planet to axis of the shaft. And I'll do that on all four. Okay. And then we need to get these locked in place. So I'm going to pull them out a little bit. And then sneak in here. And we'll do a constraint. I got to be careful that I make sure I pick this face and not an edge. So right now I have a good face. And then I'm going to pick this edge and then say select all so I can find the back face. We'll do that a couple more times. Get a little better view. All right, let's come through the back side. Okay, so here I'm going to catch an edge, so that's not what I want. So right click, select all, select others, find that face. Two more. One more. That one's hidden over here. All right, good. We'll go ahead and come from a front view. And since we're in a locked position temporarily, let's go ahead and line our gears up. Okay, and then the handle, same thing. All right, we can go ahead and unground the planet holder. Got a couple more constraints that we need to add. Now you'll notice that you'll see this weird surface in here. That's the pitch diameter of the gears. I've already opened up the files for each of these. So here is the ring, for example. And under surface bodies, part of what the design accelerator does is it adds the pitch diameter in here for us. And that's really what we need to do a lot of the functionality to make these gears work. So I've gone ahead and turned the visibility of that on all my parts so that they're available and easily used here. Okay, so our next constraints are going to be motion constraints rather than assembly. Pick to the motion. We're going to do a rotation. And I'm going to start with the pitch diameter of the sun to the pitch diameter of one of the rings, or excuse me, one of the planets. I want to make sure my ratio is changing, and I'll do that 4 times. Okay, I need to do 4 more, but this time it's going to be with the ring pitch diameter to the planets. Make sure the ratio changes. All right, and they're all done for us. My last step is we're going to take the next layer and add it in here. And my goal is to get this new sun to ground itself or weld itself to this ring. Now, Dynamic Sim has a couple of quirks to it. And when I constrain this, my best chance of getting that to work is to make sure my constraints are all associated with the part that I want it to weld with. So I don't want to constrain this to any of the other components other than the planet holder. So to do that, I'm going to use a constraint, and we're going to do an axle constraint to one of these shafts. We'll do it on the second shaft. That should keep it in alignment. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to do the face of this with a flush to this face here. Now I've taken care of, with 3 constraints, adding the planet holder to the new sun, and that'll give me my best chance that the Dynamic Sim will automatically weld those parts together for me. Okay, so it's a great time now to go ahead and save our assembly. We put some work into it, so we'll go ahead and save it off. We would hate to lose our work that we've got accomplished up to this point. And now we'll go ahead and go into the Environment Dynamic Sim. Okay, what I'm hoping to see, make sure that I made all my constraints right, just as I did in the video here, is I want all these joints to be revolutionary joints. If I don't see them all revolutionary joints, I need to go back and double check all my constraints to make sure that they're all in line with each other. The other nice thing I see in here is the welded group between my sun and my planet holder. So everything is looking really good here for us to move forward. Again, if you don't get to this step, go back, double check all those constraints, and this is where we want to be. The Dynamic Sim will automatically change our constraints to joints, and it's much easier for it to do it automatically than for us to manually do it. All right, so once we're in here, we have just a couple things to do. We need to find what standard joint is on our handle, and I can't really tell. I think it's the first one, but I want to make sure. Yep, it's the first one. And I'm going to right click on the first one and go into Properties. I got 1 degree of freedom available to work with here. I want to pick on that tab, DOF 1R. Go to the third tab, Edit Impose Motion. Enable Impose Motion. Constant value, 360 degrees per second. Okay. Come over here, change your view, and let's give it a test run. Handle is spinning good. All right, back to the beginning, and then in the construction mode. Once I get into construction mode, we need to add a few more joints. So we'll insert a joint, and we're going to go to Rolling, Cylinder on Cylinder. We're going to do 1 constant rolling, and we're going to pick the sun on the handle to component to one of the planets, and we'll do that 4 times. Oh, this one, can we grab it? There we go. Okay, we have one more joint to add. This one will be rolling cylinder in cylinder, one constant. We're going to start with the ring pitch diameter, and then we're going to pick just one of the planets. And that's it. We should have one level that works and functions as we are expecting. So let's give it a test run. And there it is, working good. We'll go ahead and change this to make it a little longer. 5 seconds, 500 frames. And give it a little longer test run. Okay, all is good with our first layer. So we're going to finish Dynamic Sim, and we're going to do another save. Save this off. And now we're going to go ahead and add another layer. All right, so for our next layer, we're going to need a ring. We're going to need a planet holder. We're going to need some planets. And we're going to need another sun. Okay. So this time I'm going to start with the planet holder. The planet holder is going to go constraint central axis to the central axis of the last sun. Pull it on out. We'll ground this so that it doesn't move while we're working. You just have to remember it's grounded and unground it. And then we'll do a flush with that to the back face. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and add our planets. And we'll do it the same way, central axis to the shaft 4 times. Okay. We'll pull them. All right, another set of constraints, the face to the face. Let's see if we can make our lives a little easier here. Let's ground this piece. There we go. Now we got 2 parts grounded, so we can't forget about that. Okay. Last one. All right, good. Let's unground this ring. This may be a little bit difficult moving it. I'll probably have to do this over anyway when we get the ring out there. Okay. Okay, so the ring, we want to do exactly how we did the first ring. So we are going to do constraint axle to the axle of the planet holder. And then we need to stop it from rotating. So that was with that plane. Good. So it's still translating. So we will do it and set it the same way we did it the last one. We'll do this face to this face, flush. Okay, so that should stop it from moving. All its degrees of freedom have been taken away. Now let's see if we can get our gears kind of where they need to be. It's a little more challenging to see as we keep building more layers. Okay. We'll unground this piece now. And unground this piece. Okay, everything's free to move again. And we have our second layer. So just like with the first layer, we need some motion constraints. Same way. Start with the sun to the planet. Watch those ratios. And then another set between the planet and the ring. All right, and then finally, we're going to add our next sun, exactly how we did the last layer. Constraint axle to one of the shafts, second shaft, and then a flush to lock it in place. Okay, quick save. And layer 2 should be done for us. We'll go ahead and go back into Environment, Dynamic Sim. Check a look at our standard joints, all revolutionary joints, looking good. So we'll go ahead and insert a joint, cylinder on cylinder, one constant. And we got to sneak in here. So start with the inner sun to a planet. Inner sun to a planet. Inner sun to the planet. One more. Oh, so close. We'll have to rotate. Okay. And then one more constraint. Cylinder in cylinder. Outer ring to one of the planets. Good. All right, that should get us to 2 layers. We'll test it. And this is why we save often. Looks like I'm crashing out at this point. So I'm going to pause this and we'll get it restarted back to that point. Okay, so we've just completed all of our joints in Dynamic Sim on our second layer. We'll give it a test run. And we have 2 functional layers at this point in time. Dynamic Sim can be funny at times, so that's why we like to save often. All right, so back into construction mode. We'll exit out of Dynamic Sim and we'll save out our part, our assembly one more time. Okay, last layer. Everything's going to be the same as the last one. So we need a ring. We need a planet holder. We need a sun. And we need some planets. Okay. So again, similar to the last layer, we'll start with some constraints. Axle on the planet holder to axle on the sun gear. Pull it on out. Let's ground that piece temporarily. And then we'll go ahead and flush it. Last sun face to backside of the planet holder. Okay. We'll go ahead this time and place our planets on. And then we just need a flush constraint between our little lip and the back face of the gears. Ooh, do a little rotate. All right, good. Let's go ahead and add the outside ring. So we will constrain axle to axle. Okay. And this face with this face with the flush. And then finally, one of the holes to the assembly plane. Okay, that's all locked in place. Again, we'll adjust our gears. Okay. And unground the parts. You can fuss with getting all the gears lined up just by grounding parts and keeping them. You got to kind of start at one side and work your way out. All right, this one's grounded too. So everything's free and clear. Okay, same sets of constraints, motion constraints between the sun and planet pitch 4 times. And then 4 more motion constraints between the ring pitch diameter and the planet pitch diameters. All right, last part, last sun, same method, axis of one of the holes to axis of one of the shafts, axis of another second hole. It's being a little tricky. Let's undo that. Try it again. Second hole, second shaft, and then finally a flush between the last planet holder and this face. Perfect. Save it. We don't want to have what happened last time happen. Okay, back over to Dynamic Sim. And our last sets of joints, cylinder on cylinder, one constant. Sneak into the V in the middle a little bit. Okay. Two. Three. Four. One more cylinder in cylinder, one constant. Okay, we are done. I'm going to save it now before I even run it. Set ourselves up with a good view. And give it a test run. And there we are, 3 layers of a planetary gear system, all functioning using normal constraints and Dynamic Sim. I hope you enjoyed this video and you give it a try. It's a great little project to test your skills. The next video I'm planning on doing is we're going to take this planetary gear and we're going to do something that most people may not even realize or notice is Inventor has a presentation mode to it, and we're going to make this planetary gear explode and come together with all of its components and show that it can function. So that'll be a fun video to see. Again, please subscribe to the channel and tell your friends. And if you have any video ideas that you would like us to give a try, please leave those in the comment field below. Thank you.